Welcome back to Breakfast from Bahrain. My name is Bob Babbitt, and we're brought to you by Babbittville Radio. My next guest, Mr. Luke Bell. And Luke, this has been a long year for you since, was it about exactly a year ago where you had your bike crash?
Yeah, it's coming up a year this weekend, so it's an anniversary. But things are slowly coming good. You know, I think everyone knows it was a long process. We had surgery on the knee in February to clean out, I guess, all the floating cartilage and that from the accident. And you know, realistically, you get a little bit down on the year. It's been definitely a roller coaster year, but I think if you look at the grand scheme of things, if you look at a football player or a basketball player, if they have a knee surgery or an arthroscope,
it's a year.
It's a season. So it's coming up a year. So realistically, it's probably about where it should be.
It's hard to be patient though when you're a professional athlete.
Yeah, it is, and you know you want to get back racing for yourself. You want to get back racing for family, for sponsors, everyone else. So it's nice. I think September was when I actually really started to notice that I'd go for a run and my knee wasn't swelling afterwards. There was no pain, but you know it would swell randomly. So the past couple of months, it's been nice to get back into the full swing of things, and I guess 100% training. You know, I can get back in the gym properly, can do all my sessions, can do all the intensity. So as you said, it's been a full year.
What's interesting when you think knee surgery, you know, you're not coming back to walk around or do an everyday job. Your knees are, you make your living with your knees. So it's different when someone says, well, the rehab is a month. No, it takes a lot longer than you think it's going to take.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why you always suss out. You try and find doctors that know the sport or know running. I actually went to one of the football surgeons in Australia, so he understood that, okay, our knees aren't going to look great to start with. As you said, we're not the everyday knee. We do more than just get out of bed, walk around, go to work. It's, you know, you're trying to log, 60 to 70 miles of running a week and at intensity. So it's, you want the best guys for the job to do it, and then, have them follow up with rehab so you can be back, doing what we all love.
This sport is so built around what happens in September, what happens in October, when you're just starting back then, and you're racing in November and December. Sometimes it's sort of out of sight, out of mind. People don't see what's happening. But you've been having some really good races this later part of the year. Yeah,
I've had a couple of good ones. I think for me, I've had a couple of good ones from where my fitness is at. I come home and went to Mandurah, which was the Australian 70.3 titles, and P1500 points. And for me, it was about collecting points late season to go into the new year. So I realistically went there for probably a 7th to 10th position. So to walk away with a 4th and have Mickey Rowlett there push the pace, and the other guys, and then come home in front of Crowe and Rudy Wild and Tyler Butterfield was, it's a little bit of a confidence booster. So it was nice to, I think for myself, I went there to race those guys to see exactly where my fitness was at and how far I've got to go. And then, the following weekend backed up with Mickey again in Ballarat. He just seemed to follow me around like a bad smell in Australia.
It's all you need.
But,
that's the one guy you don't want following around.
Yeah, but it's nice.
But you got second there.
Yeah, second there, and again, it was nice to race him and see where things are at, and things are coming back. We're here in Bahrain. Do I think I have a shot at winning? Let's be honest, realistically, probably no. But I was probably realistically thinking if I have a good day, it'll be a 5th to a 10th. You got Tim Don here, Mickey Rowlett, these guys, and
Sebastian Keeneland.
And Sebastian, but these guys are going to get off the bike and run, a 110, 112. I'm not in that shape. But a 115, 113 to 115, if I have a good day, yeah, realistically, why not? And I sort of put that as around maybe a 5th to a 10th, and then once you get in the race, you may find an extra 2% that'll get you a little bit up there.
Do you think because you've had success at both, the full Ironman and 70.3, do you think you're best suited for one or the other?
I guess on paper, and history probably shows that I race better over a 70.3, but in saying that too, you can race 70.3s more often as well, where the fulls, you've got 2 good goes a year realistically. Outside of Kona, you got 1 good go a year, and to have that fantastic day one day in the year, all your cards have got to fall in one place. Do I think I've still had the best Ironman? No. I sat down in Phuket last week, just chewing the fat with Macca. He's got a world of knowledge. Just went out and checked his facilities at Tanapura.
How amazing was that?
Amazing, but it's nice to hear him sit down and say, does he still think that I've got the ability to do well in Kona? Be on the podium there, and he's like, yeah, 100%. So it's you keep telling yourself that, but when someone like him says, you've got to swim front pack, you've got to ride, and then run. I don't have one of them as a weapon, but I see myself as a complete triathlete. And, in the past few years, the complete triathletes have been on the podium. You look, Ben Hoffman this year, Kinley's obviously bike and run's phenomenal, but outside of his weapons, you look at the next guys. Freddie was a complete triathlete as well, swim, rides and well. He's Crowe, PJ, all these guys were in the pointy end of the race throughout the day. And, I see myself there. So it's, again, for someone like Makata, come up to me and we just sat down over breakfast for like 2 or 3 hours and just chatted all things. But it's good to walk away with it with belief from someone like that.
So how does you haven't become a dad yet,
No.
but it's getting close, Christmas time. Obviously looking forward to it. How do you see that changing the way you prepare for your season, the way you prepare for racing?
Yeah, it's hard to know. You ask around, and again, Luke McKenzie was in Phuket, and it was interesting to talk to him because he's a new father as well, and juggling it all. And there's other guys around that, you ask the random questions, but I think until it happens, it's sort of an unknown, and it's something you can't really plan for. While the baby's still young, we're having a girl. We'll travel over to the US again, and hopefully, other than lack of sleep, everyone says that life can still roll on for the first 2 or 3 years as per normal. So we still plan to come over to the US and spend time in San Diego and catch up with everyone there. And I think Lucy and myself, we're fairly laid back, and we generally take things as they come. And if a problem occurs, you learn to juggle it when it happens, rather than stressing about all these issues that may never arise. So then it's wasted energy. So we'll get through the one hurdle first, which is popping out the baby, and then we'll go from there.
So how long have you been in this sport now?
I probably started dabbling in triathlon when I was like about 17 years of age, and that was more just a summer sport in between football, basketball and everything else growing up in the country. To taking it seriously, probably when I was 22 years of age, my final year of university or college, I decided growing up, I actually watched Welchie, Mark and Dave on a sports show in Australian Nines Wide World of Sport. And that was my first interaction with triathlon, was watching that and the Hawaiian Ironman. Right. So other than that, I didn't know triathlon. So that's why I've always had this draw towards Kona, and I never really went down the ITU ranks because it was a new sport to me, and my thing was I want to do Hawaii. So my final years of college and university, I was like, okay, I want to do an Ironman, tick the box, and then I'll start working. And actually that first race was at Ironman Australia, and it was Macca's first Ironman there as well. I remember Craig Walton was there, Thomas Hellriegel, Olivia Bernard, Peter Reid, Chris Lee, and all I remember was riding in this bunch. And at that time I was like, I remember talking to Thomas during the bike ride, and I was like, wow, Hell on Wheels has actually spoken to me. And it's funny the fond memories you have. Yeah. And then I had a bit of a battle with Thomas through the run. Finished in 6th place there, and was lucky enough to get a spot for Hawaii.
You were 6th there too, right?
6th there in an 8:40, I think, on the first go. So yeah, again, that sort of really didn't mean much to me. And then we took the Kona spot thinking this is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Sure. I can take it. So I went there thinking again, I'll do this, get through the race, and then we'll come back and start work. And Mum and Dad were nice at the time. They gave me sort of a year's leave of absence, I guess, and I could bum around home. And again, went to Kona, and I had a bit of a battle. I think I ran into the Energy Lab in 5th that year, and then ran out in about 16th and shuffled home and crossed the line in 16th overall. And I think that was the first time I actually realised that maybe I could do this as a job. And it was funny, joking the other day, that was my first interaction with Murphy Reinschreiber as well, which I remember standing in the lift at the King Cam after the race. And this is probably a story not too many people know. And I've heard about Murphy, and Murphy,
sports agent.
he was,
Represented Paula and Welch.
yeah, and a grumpy man. Grumpy man.
Yes.
And I got in the lift and I was like, hey Murphy. And he's like, oh, hi, great race. And I was like, thank you. And remind you, I'm 22, 23 years of age. And he's like, oh, you happy with your day? And I'm like, couldn't hold myself together. And I'm like, I'm wrapped. This is awesome. He goes, oh, well, when you get a good result, come back and chat to me. I was just like, oh.
And what place did you just taken?
16th. So I was, but, from then on, I think, a week later we got chatting and Murphy's been my agent ever since. So, yeah, but it's just one of those fond stories from the first race. And, yeah.
That always makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, and
when you actually do something, let me know.
Yeah, so it's good. And, here we are, standing Bahrain, what is it, like 13 years later, who would have thought you'd be standing here still doing, what we got into out of pure love and enjoyment.
Love that. And now you're going to be a dad.
Going to be a dad, and, I got a... So what's Lucy's about 4 weeks away.
Yeah.
Got a message from her this morning. She was out on the stand-up paddle for an hour back home in Melbourne. So, yeah, she's doing well. She's looking forward to it. And I think we're excited about having it at Christmas too. It's, our families always get together at Christmas, and it's always a really good time for us. So to have everyone in our family all together all at once, and then, have a baby come along, it's definitely going to be special. Yeah, for sure.
Have you raced in this part of the world before?
I come over to this part twice for the Abu Dhabi International.
Okay.
Yep, in a couple of years there, and so I sort of had an idea of what it would be like here. Flat, windy. Yep. I thought it might have been a little hotter, and the water is definitely a lot colder than what I thought.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I saw people in stocking caps this morning. I was like, wait a second, where's the heat here?
Yeah, and definitely coming from Phuket last week, where it was, I think temperatures hit 107 to 110. So it was definitely hot and humid there. So it's different, but I think, it's a unique race. 20-metre draft rule here, which is...
I've never seen that before.
Something else. It'll be interesting to see how that's managed throughout the race, for sure, and to see how it affects the race, I think, as well. And then, on the flip side of things, with the girls having a half an hour start on the age group men, that's what everyone's been batting for for a long time. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. And then, you look at the combination of the couple of, for the girls especially, I think the couple of the ITU girls here that'll put in that speed. So it'll be...
And you guys have, Tim Don has already done some 70.3, but you've got, some of the Olympic guys have moved over with Jan Frodeno and Tim Don, and it's always great when you get the long course, the 70.3 specialists and the Olympic guys all together. Yeah,
and I think, it's just nice this time of year as well. The rest of the year, as you said, everyone's focused around September, October, and it's such an intense time of year. But you come down here in the morning and everyone's happy to sit down at breakfast, chat to each other. You're all on one big table, talking war stories of the year. And, it's nice to sit back and look around and see everyone's here and enjoying themselves. And I'm sure when the gun goes off, it'll be war as normal. But it's nice to see, all the guys here in one spot and relaxed and enjoying the race itself.
At the end of the day, there's not a lot of psychological stuff that you can do on race day. It's you against the course, and whatever what training you did, and Jan Frodeno knows what training he did. You're not going to fake anybody out here.
No, absolutely. So it's once the gun goes off, it's racing as per normal. But you've got guys that are race Kona, you've got guys that are starting their season, whether they're coming from Australia. So again, it's a little bit of an unknown package because you don't know how fit anyone is, what shape they've turned up in, but everyone's turned up with a smile on their face, and everyone's having a shot at the big prize purse.
Yeah, $500,000, $100,000 for first for men and women, very unique, and the field is stacked. So it's me great.
Yeah, two people, one guy and one girl, is going to go home extremely happy, and the other thing we've been guaranteed is there's a huge surprise come awards night. So I think we're all excited to see what's going to happen there as well.
Love that. Luke, thanks so much.
No worries. Thanks, Bob. Good to see you on the other side of the world.
Luke Bell has been our guest, the daddy-to-be, and he'd like to walk away here with $100K. That would be a pretty sweet way to put some college fund away.
Absolutely.
This has been Breakfast from Bahrain. My name is Bob Babbitt. Hold on, everyone. We will be right back.